Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over, episode number 35. I think it's 35. Tell me it's 35,
yes,
Jeff.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
And with me is Jeff Blanchard, good friend, and our co-host. So here we are. It is today a Saturday, my time, Sunday, his time. He just went through a major internet upgrade in his... Was that in your whole neighborhood?
Well, in selected area, well, it's the whole country really, but it's just getting round to house by house. But say something, the two doors up, they still haven't got it, but it's slowly rolling out.
Interesting. All right. Well, here's our intro. And we are back. Jeff?
Well, it's interesting what you were saying, though, Rick, with my upgrade of the system. Is before last week, I don't know if you can see any difference in the Skype signal today, but the last one was on the ADSL internet connection and was supposed to have 20. It's megabits per second, isn't it? Not megabytes. It's megabits per second. We're supposed to have 20 megabits per second download and 1 megabit upload.
One is very small. Yeah.
Well, that was what we was expecting to get, but what we were actually getting because of the copper lines, I was getting 4 download.
Oh no.
And 0.7 upload.
So you now went down in your internet.
No, that's what I was getting. That's what I was getting on my ADSL.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So what they've done is replacing all the copper wires with the, I suppose it's the fiber in there. So now with the different plans, so now I've gone, it seems pitiful compared to your 300, but now I'm ecstatic. I've gone to from, 8 or 5 to now, what was it, 50
that's
down.
Great. Yeah.
And 25 and 20 up.
Oh, you're doing great.
And also as well, and that's on the physical connection with the Ethernet cable. And even on this, I've tested it on the Wi-Fi, and it just drops by about 1 or 2.
Okay.
So it's about 48 down and 17 up when you're on the Wi-Fi. So I thought, I'm in heaven. As I said, I know you're on about 300.
You've now reached bandwidth heaven. Because frankly, 50 and 25 is not bad.
No.
It's not bad. We had that at home. When we were doing all the shows for 4 years at home, we had 35 and 5. And we got 300 and something shows out with that bandwidth. And for the most part, it wasn't an issue. Every so often it was, but not often. And I would tell the dogs, don't get on the internet, not while we're doing a show. You have to behave. And and it worked out okay.
But that's what I thought with the upgrade, because I thought I was doing okay with the old horrible connection, so I thought I'll be in heaven, and I might even get to upload more content, because before it really put me off, because just a little 135 megabyte thing would take 2.5 hours to do, and with you getting 4K content, files are getting bigger and bigger, and you don't want to put up a lesser quality one when you've got that quality, so. You just hold off from doing it. But also with that, I don't know how they've done it at your area, but with mine, they've also put the phone, the landline phone on the
we're the
connection as well.
We're the same way. Our office
and now
phones,
they're doing.
Yeah, we're the same way. Our office phones are now part of Voice over IP, and they work fine. And
the same here. It works really good. But I think here you cannot get the fiber connection without the phone going through it. I think they're really trying to kill all the copper.
They did that with us too.
Yeah. So, but at the moment it's fine. As I said, Pat, I had a hiccup this morning, but it was just the router.
Yep. And
once I did the old IT trick of pulling the plug out the wall and plugging it back in, which is really sophisticated, everything seemed to work fine.
The other one that works really well is
what's that? Smack.
Yeah, smack. Yeah. That made it work. It's working fine now. It's funny. I've managed in IT systems for a long time, and we had some systems where literally you'd walk into the IT room. It's about as big as a refrigerator, and you just hit it. hit it on top or hit it on the side, and it works. And people are going, what did you just do? I rearranged some of the electrons that were floating incorrectly in there, and now it's working fine. And they just look at you and go, it's magic.
It still amazes me with technology how many people will just sit there pressing the same button or doing the same thing for hours
and over. Well, that's
thinking it's going to do the same thing.
That's how they define insanity. How do you define insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result every time.
That's right. But then again, we're all guilty of it. We know what we're doing, but we go back and press the refresh button again. Yep. Refresh. Well, no, it's not going to work, but we just
but we keep trying.
In hope. But
at that point, we're looking for divine intervention. Maybe somebody will come to the rescue because
because I'm always of the opinion, if it's going to go wrong, it will go wrong with me, and it'll be something I can't fix. So I'm always look on the bad side, and I'll think like you were saying with one of your, I think it was Life's Edge show. I think it was with the presenter.
Oh, Ken Millay. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Ken
Millay.
It was just saying, be prepared. Always have something else extra to go. So I always tried. I thought I had the laptop ready. I thought, will that connect through the landline with the physical connection? But always have some sort of option. I hate being left. And these days, you feel like your throat's being cut if you haven't got your internet. Even if you don't need it, you've got to have it.
I know. It's interesting. Well, you sent me something today I thought was really fascinating, and I would love to actually go see this. And it's a Russian space shuttle. Is it a museum or just an abandoned warehouse?
It's just an abandoned Soviet space shuttle port or something.
It looks really cool. Let's take a look at this. I want to go there.
You know what? I wanted. I thought, I know it'd be dangerous, but where I'd love to go for Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, they said, it's very interesting, and it's pretty much recuperated.
But I thought it's still deserted. It's a whole city, isn't it?
Yes.
It would be like watching, The Walking Dead, where a whole place deserted like that. But I'm amazed. I wish I'd love to be able to. It's like that thing in Russia. It just amazes me that some things can be, top of the thoughts of everybody. Will spend millions like that. It was saying it was once there. It had air sealed, so you didn't get a speck of dust in there.
Oh, that's amazing.
To keep the integrity of the tiles on that shuttle. But now it's all covered in dust, and it's just left there to rot. Whereas I wish they did that a bit here, but what they tend to do here, if something like that it gets finished, 2 days later they've bulldozed it and cleaned the site and just leave it until the next thing. But in some places, I would love to get the camera, because I just think they're the fascinating things. And I thought, how do these people find these things? I suppose it's just in their backyard.
It might be, but also it looks like a beautiful. the shuttle looked beautiful. It looked as nice, if not nicer, than ours over here. It looked very modern. It looked roomy and comfortable, and it actually looked quite interesting. And their technology didn't look any worse than ours, frankly, because for years they kept saying they were a bit worse than we were. I don't think so. I think they were on a par in many, many ways to what we did. But you had so much disinformation that nobody really knew what was going on. But very, very interesting pictures, and Clark put that together using Premiere, just create a little slideshow out of it. And it was pretty interesting. There was music playing with it too. We just can't hear it on our end.
I thought so, yeah.
But
it's, it's just fascinating, and I just don't know. As I said, I'm not too sure how in depth it was. Whether it was just models of it that they were preparing to do it, because they used to do that a lot, didn't they?
Yes.
They used to do models of things to emulate, but used to do full size ones. Like I know they always used to say those parades in Red Square to show their power with all the nuclear weapons going up and down. They're all made up cardboard.
oh, that's true. That's true.
Things were just models.
And you were saying something about how they left it there, and it's kind of vacant now, and going to Chernobyl, and you have an empty city. Well, all you have to do is come to California. We have many empty cities. There are people there, but there's nothing going on. They're completely devoid of any actual neural activity. So you would be in exactly the same position. It's like Chernobyl victims. There they are. We have them all. They shipped them all to California. Nothing's going on. So it's an interesting place.
Is that what you're saying? He says, the Walking Dead isn't
the Walking
isn't
Dead
a film
are here.
set. It's just Los Angeles.
Yeah, we are here. They're all here. Trust me, we've got tons of. In fact, we're run by the Walking Dead. So that's another thing. Our leaders here are just beyond Walking Dead. Common sense has disappeared in this state.
I must admit, my most frightening experience was on probably my first visit to Los Angeles, and I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard at about 8:30 in the morning, and with a friend, and he says, "You're walking across the road against the traffic signals." I said, "Yeah, have you seen what's behind us?" It was like the living dead was coming out of because I didn't realize all the vagrants live in the doorways at night, and then they shoo them off about 9 o'clock, but I was just there when they were shooing them all off.
Yep.
And it was like,
it's like, what was it? Mad Max Lives. And it wasn't in Australia. It's here. We've got it. So
yes.
We see people dressed like Mad Max out here. So we got them all. It's an interesting place. Mm. Well, Jeff, I bought something here today.
Well, you did.
I bought to show you, even though this is not new. This is almost 2 years old.
The 70D.
Let me show. Oops, sorry. Let me get this shot going.
Oh, that's me.
Here we go.
Oh,
that is the 70D. I can zoom out a little bit so you could see it a little bit better, maybe. Okay, so here we go. This is the 70D from Canon. Mm-hmm. Still an excellent camera. There is no new version of this one yet. I don't know if they've announced anything. I heard that there was going to be a Mark II, but nothing I saw on Amazon, and no pre-release, nothing. So this is still their really top of the line before you get into the very expensive cameras. This is kind of the bridge camera before you go to the 7D and the 5D. And yet today, to this day, this camera gets better video than the 7D and the 5D by most people's accounting. It has the dual pixel autofocus. So when you actually run this camera, you can actually, let me just turn this on for a moment. Now, it is big because I have the battery grip on underneath, but I love the battery grip because it has controls. You can do things here. You can change your exposure. You can do all sorts of stuff with this, with the battery grip. It has an HDMI out, so I could actually hook this up to the system. I should have actually done that today. Would have been an interesting test. But this camera, it's got a nice heft to it. It's not that heavy. It is probably 30% heavier than something like the Panasonic GH4, 30 to 40% heavier maybe. But I like it. I like the feel of it in my hands, and it's very easy to stabilize it because of the bigger battery grip. Whereas on the GH4, it's a little bit smaller. But it really is a nice camera. This is the kit lens, the STM kit lens. So the step motor, and it's an excellent motor. I can pan across about, that kind of speed, and it will keep the focus almost perfectly. Now, I tried this. This is the 18 to 135 millimeter kit lens. The STM, not a very expensive lens. I think it's only about $200-300. It does a very good job, very quiet. You can barely hear it as it's doing its thing. I do have the 50 millimeter STM lens that I just got this week. It's pretty small. It only goes up about maybe 1.5 inches. So it's not very big. So it's not quite a pancake, but it's a little bit bigger. And it's very good too, but I wouldn't use it for video. At least not for
No.
moving video where you have to do this. It won't focus fast enough. But if you're doing interview videos, wow, that 50 millimeter 1.8 lens is amazing. If you're just sitting like this and you're talking to the camera, wow, it is going to look so beautiful, and you're going to get the best bokeh on the background from the depth of field. It's going to look so good. So, and they cleaned it because the depth of field and the bokeh in the background is now very round, very clean, very natural versus what they had before, which was rather almost grotesque. So really definite improvements. But I've been shooting with this. You and I have been talking a lot about, cameras and everything else. And, we've been sort of dissing Canon a little bit. But frankly, this still shoots beautifully. And I still think this shoots better pictures than the Panasonic, at least without a lot of work.
I was saying during the week, the Canon, you really can't go past them, and I still like that the single lens reflex thing. So I'm not looking at them for a still shot. I can put up with video. I'd still need the LCD because you really don't know what you're getting. But one thing I like with that 70D and the old 60D that you're not getting on the higher ones is that flip out viewfinder, and most people say, "Oh, well, you'll need it, so that it doesn't matter." Yes, but it'll take 5 months and it'll be scratched to high heaven. You won't be able to see out of it.
Right.
That's what I like. You can switch it around, and plus that video feature on that 70 is excellent because I've got the 60D and it does a fantastic video quality.
Yeah,
but you have to have it set up, and you can't focus. You've got to focus on the subject. Yep. That's it, but you won't autofocus. It'll autofocus, but once you start recording, it's locked in.
Right.
You can't do that. You have to do everything manually. And when you're doing video, a lot of the time moving around, you need that autofocus, no matter how good. Unless you've got a crew of 15 people, once focusing and doing all that, you need
I don't
that
like
for
the
yourself.
follow focus. When you have to have that manual follow focus, it's really hard to do. And frankly, to me, it's a pain. To have to do all that to get focus, I find it bothersome. That's why I don't really care for the Zacutos and all that, where you have these beautiful rigs, but they're expensive, all just to get it to focus. Whereas this one, follow focuses by itself, and it does a really, really good job. Get the right lens on this, and it will follow focus perfectly.
And the only time I quite often do when I'm videoing, I switch the autofocus off, is when I want something to be focused in and something walk past the background.
Right.
But I don't want it to focus in on that. But then usually you're on a tripod, you're focused in on something. But when you run and shoot, you're better off having the autofocus and have something zooming in and out of focus than getting everything out of focus. At least you get something out of it. Like when you're just putting a camera in somebody's face or up and down, you just want to be sure of getting that. And even Canon must know that, because they've introduced a lot more of that in the C100, which that never had it. But now that's got sort of the follow focus.
Doesn't it have the same?
One of the upgrades of the Mark II.
They're using the dual bit pixels in all of them now, I think. And it makes sense. Even the Rebels have it. The smaller ones, the T whatever 5i, 4i, whatever. They all have that now, or a lot of them do. So it's making its way up now. For example, the 70. Now talk about stupid marketing. A 70D and a 7D, which sound almost the same. People get confused all the time when you say 7D versus
the
70D. So you have to really specify 70D, or people go 70? No, 70D. You said 70. No, 70D. Talk about circular conversations. But what happens is the 7D has 49 autofocus points. This one has 19. Big difference. So meaning you'll get probably a sharper picture on the 70. However, the pictures I saw in comparison looked almost exactly the same. The video is still a little better on the 70D. They said it just works better. The 7D, the more expensive one, doesn't have this, which is, I think, essential. Articulating lens, articulating display.
No, I think that's essential, because even yesterday I was using my Panasonic, the FZ1000, and that's got one of those.
Yeah, it's
and
nice.
have the camera up high, You just flip the thing down so you can see things.
Yeah,
you
you
just
can look
need
up a
it
little bit or
all,
look
all the
down.
time you do.
And it's perfect. And so, I don't think Canon's dead. A lot of people are saying it's going to die.
Definitely not.
But I do think they are suffering a little bit in terms of performance and coming out with things more quickly. And frankly, Sony and Panasonic make them look like laggards the way they work. Because every year they have some new technology that's moving very quickly, and they're pushing that edge. They're just pushing and pushing and pushing until they get something new and exciting. And I don't see that with Canon. All Canon does is they lower the price of the C100 by $6,000 or something. So, okay, that's just saying you lost. It was overpriced anyway.
But it is, it's just the competitions out there that make these places like Canon come into line with things. And I've just saw there was just another product. I haven't got too much information, but I was looking at it during the week, and it was a Canon one, but they've developed, like the wireless hard drive, the terabyte hard drive that is for their cameras. So whenever it's in the range, so it will download your images. And I thought that's a useful thing, because the one thing I just hate, and it's an easy thing to do, I hate getting back from a shoot and sticking me memory cards in and downloading it.
Yeah. No, I don't
Great
mind.
if it was if it's just Wi-Fi and it just did it when you connected in there, but
Right.
It's one of those just loads of little things. It looks like they're trying
Now,
to
this one
branch
does
out
have
into
Wi-Fi.
more.
The 70D does have Wi-Fi. You can connect to a phone. You can connect to another camera. You can connect to, I think, 3 different things or a network. And so it does already have that built in, and it's fairly easy to set up. And you could use, I haven't connected to this one yet, but I have the Canon EOS app on my Android phone, and it does a great job of being a remote. It's called the Canon EOS Remote. And
that's what I had to go with that as well, because on the 60D, the one that I've got, they came out with I think it's called a rangefinder or a cam finder.
Yeah.
The rangefinder, I think you got that for the 60D, which makes it a Wi-Fi, but the 70's got that all built in, and it's the same app that works with your 70 and your
the 5D and the 70
XA25.
I think it is.
Your camcord.
Yeah.
That works off so you can remotely operate it, and I thought they're the way it's going now. The Panasonics we got, the HXC 1000s, they've got a similar sort of thing, and it's becoming essential these days. If you're in a bit of an interview situation, you can sit there. You don't have to get up and zoom it in. You can do it from the remote. You can change the f-stops, the aperture, the aperture on there, or the iris as you call it, with the video, without even having to get up. And I think that's essential when you're on your own, because the amount of times I've sat there, got back up, done that, and stuck a teddy bear in the seat. I bought a teddy bear once, a big one, sat it in the chair, so it's sat there so you can focus in on that and have all the lighting right.
Now admit it.
It's hard when you're doing it
the
yourself.
teddy bear is your friend.
That's right.
It's not
Did
really
you see? Did you see, Rick? I did send you. There was one little bit of technology that I thought was fantastic that Range Rover had with an iPhone app.
Oh,
and
no.
It was,
I don't think he gave me that one.
No, but it didn't. It was easy to see. It was what they did with the hooked up. There's a remote control of the hook up to the Range Rover, and it allows you to drive the car up to 5 miles an hour on the remote control.
Really? Huh.
And you can steer it as well. And I thought how useless this would be, but it was sort of meant for if you're on a 4-wheel drive thing and you've got some rocky,
actually,
awkward
I don't think
situations, you can get out of your car and move it a little bit.
I don't think that's it. Range Rovers here are in the shop all the time, so 5 miles is about all they can handle, and therefore that's what you need to take it to the shop. They're always broken. So.
And one of the things I could see an advantage in a big city like yours as well is where you can start the car up and you can reverse it out of a parking spot where somebody's wedged you in.
Yep.
because you can't get into the car. And I thought, gee, that's a sort of the technology, and that was just on an iPhone app. And I thought
That's interesting.
It probably cost you $50,000 to implement that. But
Yeah.
but these sort of things are ones that are way out of reach of the likes of me and you. But in 10 years' time, it becomes a standard feature like air conditioning.
Now, I did buy a little toy, just a very small one.
Oh,
I bought and I didn't bring it into, I don't know why I forgot to bring it in here, but probably because I just got one battery for it. It didn't come with batteries. But it's from Polaroid. Remember Polaroid? They made cameras and they made film, but now they're making toys. But it's a useful toy. It's an intervalometer. It's a wireless intervalometer, which means a shutter release button. It's a wireless shutter release button. If you don't have a phone app, this thing runs wirelessly up to 100 meters, which is not bad. That's a full football field or soccer field. So it's a full 100 meters. It has a very small dongle that you put on into your camera shutter release connector, and then you turn it on. And on the other end, you've got the intervalometer where you can do whatever kind of filming you want with it or shooting, and then you just press the button. It'll take shots for you. But that's all done wirelessly, and literally it just finds itself. It goes, "Oh, hi, how you doing? I'm doing fine. Let's take pictures." Sure. And it just goes. It's pretty cool. $39.
so you can't complain about that.
I got it yesterday, and the only thing it didn't come with, and I guess for $39, I would have paid $49. Give me the batteries. It had the intervalometer required, I think, 2 AAAs. But the other one required a CR2, which is a little small photo
the 2032, those ones. Yeah, the little flat.
Yeah, so of course I had to go to the drugstore to find one of those because not everybody sells that. So we got one of those, and I haven't played with it yet, but that's really cool. I mean, you could do it with a phone app, but what if your phone, for some odd reason, isn't working, you're out in the heat, whatever? You just put this thing in, and now you've got a perfect intervalometer. And the phone, I don't think, does the intervalometer stuff where you could say, I want you to take one shot every 30 seconds for the next hour, which this thing will do. I don't know how well it works, but it's kind of cool to see that. And it works primarily with the Canon 70D, the 7D, the 5D, and a whole mess of other Canon digital Rebel ones. So I think that's kind of cool. And I couldn't resist. For the price, I said, well, I could use that. Because half the time, if I'm doing the selfie thing, because I'm testing, I keep telling, Leslie goes, why do you always take pictures of yourself? I go, when was the last time you said you'd sit in front of me to take a picture? Okay, see ya. And she just leaves. It's like, okay, see ya. I don't want to talk to you anymore. For all you people out there, if you've got a wife and you're married and you ask her to be your model, they say no. They just say no. Now, don't bother me. I'm cooking. Or don't bother me. I'm working. All right. So if it's anything like in our lives, Ricky probably had, I don't know how your father was, but my father, when he was taking a picture, it was like, it's like sitting for the Mona Lisa portrait. My dad was the same way.
You got used to when you was a kid that,
I hated it.
Can I take a picture? It was a woeful thing. So when you do it yourself, the last thing you want to put people through is say, hey, can you just sit there while I take a photo?
I know. And I'm fast. I take quick pictures, but no. Oh, yeah, my dad was just like that. It was like, all right, let's take a picture. I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. No, sit down. Hours later, like 2 pictures were taken. It's like, oh, my gosh. Why don't you take a picture faster? Film costs money. Where was digital cameras in those? We didn't have digital cameras. It was horrible. And knowing them, they'd still be slow. No, you don't want to waste the chip. You can erase it. No, that would be rude.
Well, I'll tell you. I was just clearing out a few things the other month, and I came across some 8mm film. You know how you used to have to
the Super 8.
You bought that, and it was Super 8, and it was prepaid, so it was for 3 minutes, and then once you did it, you put it in and got it processed.
Yes.
But Dad was so mean, because he didn't want to use, because it was going to be so expensive. He never used it, so I found them there about 40 years later, just in the cupboard, in the sealed cellophane, 4 films, never used, because he was too scared to use them. But then you end up just not using it at all. But that's where I think this digital age is just so good, because I can say, I'll take that. Rubbish, okay, switch off. I don't really need it.
Look at the influence and impact of YouTube. It is amazing how much is on YouTube and on how many different subjects. Yes, there's a lot of garbage on YouTube. Tons. Probably three-quarters of YouTube could be thrown away today and nobody would miss it, except maybe the crazy old ladies who look at cat videos all day long. But beyond that, there's amazing stuff. Where do you go first when you're looking for a product review?
Oh, always. First thing I do, and I've still got a lynda.com account, and I go through them, but still, for a quick reference, I just say, how do I do this? Or, and I was just looking the other, type in 70D, I'll have a look at that. Or type in the word new cameras and see what's out there, because you don't know by name, so you'll have a look. And usually the ones, and YouTube's pretty good at giving you the same thing that, like the Google search does.
Right.
It will give you the most popular things. It won't give you the rubbish first unless you type in a specific name, but it usually gives you, well, what are people watching first?
Yep.
And so, but I mean, it's one of those things. It's I'll live by that now. And well, I used to sit down and watch some TV, but now you watch a lot of these things, and I can sit down for hours. And what have I done? Oh, I've watched about 50 different camera reviews and people doing that, and you just get so many ideas from YouTube. It's a fantastic resource.
I found a great app. It's on. This is only Windows based right now, but if you have Windows 8.1 or 8, there is an app. It runs under Metro, and it's called MyTube. It is wonderful. It's a beautiful looking app. The quality of the video is amazing. It has a ton of functionality and features. I just love it. MyTube on Windows. I do not, but there are Mac versions, but they're not as nice. And there are more apps. I haven't seen one on the Mac proper. I should look. I haven't looked in a while. But this thing runs on Windows 8.1, and it is truly a lovely app. And you know, it's interesting because YouTube, speaking of, changed their app recently. They made it different. They changed the API. So what was going on with them is that now the API is very different. That's why so many of the good apps on your iPad, on your phone, they're gone because it costs too much money. Yeah, it costs too much money for them to have to redo the API. It sounds like it was a major update. And even if you noticed on Apple TV for about 2 months, YouTube was gone. It's now back. It finally came back.
And you know how yourself and I, we subscribe to, I think, it's Muse themes, and there's another one. But on Muse themes, there was one of the themes, the widgets that had to import the YouTube. And then with all that change, all those sort of things didn't work.
Well, you
it
know,
really
I'll tell
impressed
you,
me. It only took them a week until they upgraded it. Till now, it does work again.
But I'll tell you,
because all those widgets never worked when they wanted to insert a widget that on a website that had all your YouTube showing. It didn't work. It worked on your preference list or your viewing list, but not on your uploads, which is quite strange. But it all works fine now.
I have a secret for you.
You do?
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, this is between you and me, and nobody's paying attention.
Yeah.
We are redesigning our RELATECAST website, and it's almost ready. I think Monday or Tuesday we're going to publish it, and it's really cool. It's a one-page site. One page. It goes down a lot, but then you can go to other pages from the other sections, but it's much cleaner, easier to follow, and it's really pretty. And we have a YouTube widget from Muse Themes that is awesome. It shows you anytime a new one comes out. The other day, I published the Life Ed show, and while he was working on it in a preview, it showed up live. And it just works beautifully. And from there, you can look at all your different playlists and everything right from that one widget. It's a lovely...
And that was one widget that I use, and they were saying that they've updated, but I just think it's just so good that they keep track of them. And those one-page sites, like you're doing yours, it seems to be the way to go, because earlier on you think, oh, well, that's a lot, but it's easy to make. It's one page, and it's just click on. It's just anchors, really, isn't it? When you click on, and as long as you've got the floating menu, which you can have in Muse quite easily on the bottom, people can go back to home and navigate it quite easily. And you don't want a website that's got 500 million pages anyway.
No. Hey, Jeff, just out of curiosity, if you'd like to try this, I didn't get a chance to load your website in, but would you like to share your website? Because you've done quite a few changes recently to it, and I think it's really cool. And you did this whole thing in Adobe Muse.
Yeah, I'll just see if if I can get that up on my other one.
Yeah, the nice thing,
So-
Jeff was never a web developer before this, took Muse and created a wonderful site, and you had a lot of fun with that. You did several sites, I think. And it's amazing.
I've done one with, let's see if I can get this up here. Well, there. I think that should, here I go over. Is that coming?
Not yet. Have
No,
you shared your screen?
That wrong one. Have I done that one? Hang on, let's do there.
Or change your Wirecast shot, maybe.
I'll just see. Well, hang on. Let's see what I'm doing here. Oh, that should be it. Is that my
There you
Wirecast
go.
shot? Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
But it's not the. No, that's my. That was my other one. Okay, that's my site there.
There we go.
And it's, as I said, I've done, and I don't know if you've noticed, but do you see those windows in the background
Yes,
on my
I like
site
that.
I
Yeah.
did
Uh-huh.
that's from the Getty Center.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's the
Cool.
reflection of the window through the Getty Center.
I was wondering where you got that, or if you just got it on iStock or something. That's what you took that
Oh, no.
shot.
And the thing is, that's what I like. What I've done with my site, everything I do on my site, every picture is all my pictures.
That's
I haven't
cool.
bought anything
Yep.
on there. So about the only thing was on here where you see that, like we've got the shows here was, and this is in Muse themes. They give you a widget with all the little inlays like
Yes.
the computer and that. So that's what I put on there. So on the front of mine, I have the latest of the Tech Down Over show, which of course that one's the previous week. And then I have my Twitter feed down the side.
Nice.
But also as well, you said you got the YouTube,
It's similar to that one.
widget
It's
in
similar
there.
to that.
and then that's got it on there, the uploads or what you think is a playlist or what's, I don't know what the featured one is, not that I have, but just have the uploads, have what you've recently uploaded and keeps all your videos together. So, and then I do have, on there I have just the pictures of Melbourne going past in the background for
Yes.
the front one there. And I think I can never remember where I've done this one on this one. So no, that might not be the right one. I just have. I'll go back to this. I forget. Oh, well, just something like this. I don't know if you can see the background on there. I'll just.
Yeah, that's pretty
on
cool.
there.
And in fact, we
But
have a
what
background
is-
on ours too now, the new one, which is really our studio, all the audio gear, and it looked great because he darkened it. It just looks really cool.
But what I don't know if you can see that yet through there. But that background is of Yosemite, but on a smaller screen. Can you see the trees moving?
A little bit.
Because
On the
it's
yes,
a moving.
yeah,
It's a
interesting.
moving video. If I make it a bit small, I don't know if I can make it a bit.
So that's
bit
actually
smaller.
a video.
That's actually video because on a smaller screen you can see there's a waterfall in the background, but it's
Yeah.
not showing too much on that one, so you can't see it. But it's
Interesting.
like that, an inlane to an iPad thing on there. Then I've got
Yeah.
also all the Tech Down Over shows on here. And as I said, this is where I like, and I had a website before my first one, which looked okay, but it was a template of somebody who knew what to do in Dreamweaver, and
Yep.
you just fill in the gaps.
Right.
But all this, this one I've done all myself, and say put in all the links so you can go straight to the last show or the different shows, go back to the 2014 shows that you've got on this, and I thought it's just fantastic because that's the thing you want to be able to do is do your own shot,
Yep.
own site, be able to upload something. Oh, that's wrong. Take it down. You don't want to. And I found with Dreamweaver, yes, fantastic. But if you don't know what you're
a lot
doing,
of
you've just
work.
destroyed your whole site
It's
by.
way too much
I've
work
clicked-
too.
Oh well, I've synced it with my desktop one, not the other one, and you've just done all, and it's very complicated to.
Yeah, I think
to figure out.
Muse is getting only better. It's great,
Oh,
and it's getting better.
Yeah, and I think so too. And it just said like where I don't know if I did have it wrong one there, but sometimes some of the images are the only thing I do. I think I'll load some two bigger images on that. I've got to cut them down in size because sometimes you do get carried away and
Right.
thinking, oh, okay, that's fine. But like this little widget here, it does a little photo gallery, but it
Well, now your
can take all
screen's
the,
dark right now.
Yeah, but it's just one. But say
There it
on
goes.
there,
There it goes.
and then it does one there, so you can do you can go to another one.
Huh.
But once it loads up, they're all there. So, but I mean, it's just fantastic, just to be able to do that yourself. So,
I know. That's really cool.
and that's just just near Melbourne here, but it's just fantastic, all the things that you can do.
How far are you from Melbourne proper?
Sorry?
How far are you from downtown?
Yeah, for about 34 kilometres.
Oh, that's not bad.
So,
that's not very far.
Yeah, not far.
What, about 10,
Probably
15
about
minute
40
drive?
minutes drive.
How many?
About 40 in traffic and that.
Oh, you have a lot of traffic. You guys have traffic,
Yeah,
don't
not very.
you? Because
Well, we do, but the thing is-
15 kilometers is only about 8-9 miles.
Now 34 kilometres,
Oh.
yes, but you see, the thing is, you've got so many freeways. We just have the couple.
Okay.
So it's usually it's not as quick, but I think it'd probably be about 30, 40 minute drive. It's about 35, 40 kilometres.
Okay. Oh, 35 kilometers. So that's
get
about
there, so-
20 something miles. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
In traffic.
Yeah,
Well, we have the biggest parking lots in the world in California. Those, you call them freeways. They're actually parking lots.
But there's still what I do like with we call ours, it's the southeastern car park. It's not the freeway, we call it the south. But even then, going to Los Angeles and I see the volume of traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Even then, it still amazed me. Even a lot of the time, it's crawl there, and here it stops dead sometimes.
We
and you
have
think,
somebody
imagine
said
if
we
we
have.
had the population of Los Angeles would be dead.
Oh, we have something like 15 to 20 million cars just in the LA area and outskirts. That's a lot of cars. And it's amazing we don't have more accidents. We have enough, but it's amazing we don't have more because people don't drive well anymore out here. They used to. But with the influx of everyone, everybody drives badly now. And anybody can get a license, which is even more scary.
Well, that's what I think's really, with the road accidents. I think the biggest problem I can see over the years is the introduction of automatic licenses. So you have to drive an automatic. Like when I got a license, you had to get a gear shift, stick shift license, and then you could drive an automatic. But you had to qualify for that first, and it stopped all the people who weren't qualified. But now it's like, can you drive a Dodgem car? Well, yeah, put your foot down and just turn the wheel. Everybody can do that, but I don't know about there, but we've had so many lately, people just putting the foot on the accelerator and running through shop windows and houses. And they're not just old people.
I remember they blamed Audi years ago. This is probably back in the early 80s for instant acceleration, but it really came down to most of it was driver error, idiots driving with the left foot and the right foot at the same time, hitting the brakes and accelerator, and they're confused. And you just go, why are you driving with 2 feet? It was just bad driving. And then Audi paid the price for it because 60 Minutes basically did a horrible expose on them, but it was mostly lies. It wasn't accurate. And so, that's unfortunately the problems with the media. But, there's just a lot of bad drivers who don't know what they're doing. And we are all paying the price for that. And of course, we live in, I think in here, I don't think we're still a no-fault insurance state because in essence, here you have to have insurance or post a $15,000 bond. Most people don't bother. And so as a result, who pays for that? We do. Because the insurance says it's no fault, but the only people paying for it are the ones with insurance. We do. So it's always that way. It's just insane.
I don't know about how it is here, but we cannot get on the road without your registration. You've got your public liability insurance, so everybody's covered from the public liability. You cannot get on the road without that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, here we don't have that. Not really. So, it's just kind of crazy. Well,
but then again, what people do here, they just don't register their cars, and then they're not covered, but they just don't bother.
Right. It's crazy. Well, we are at the end of our time, and it goes fast.
We started early today.
And we started early, too.
Well,
We're finishing just about on time.
But we started about 20 minutes early.
I think we're about over 45. Maybe we're 50 minutes already. But anyway, it's always fun, and it always goes way too fast. But next week we should have some good topics and some good stuff. There's all sorts of just incredible tech coming out. And there's going to be new camera announcements and microphone. There are some new microphone announcements we should talk about. We did one last week with the Rode link from Rode. I want to get one of those. I just don't want to get it right now.
I was talking about YouTube before. I had a look at that again last night. I think I've got to get that one. That looks like for that sort of price for $399. It looks like a well worth it. I did see another silly one, and I just didn't know what it was. It was this thing that clicked onto the iPhone that gave you a DSLR quality thing on your phone. I thought, well, what's the point?
I know.
Fitted on that iPhone. Why don't you use a camera? I just thought it was quite silly to be.
Because otherwise you've got to take off. Well, there's a lot of people who have that iPhoneography or whatever they call it, where they like doing everything on the iPhone. It's their life. So, and there's some really beautiful art on the iPhone. But to carry an extra camera for the iPhone, like you said, I'd rather get a much better camera. Now, Panasonic does have the Panasonic something 1. I can't remember the number. It is a cell phone. It's an Android phone, not very large. It's only 4.7 inches, which means I wasn't interested. But in essence, it's really a camera. It's an f1.7 lens. It can zoom. It can do things. But it is a cell phone camera. It's a camera with a cell phone. It's a little odd. The reviews are good on it. They're not bad, but you really are compromising a lot for the camera. I just think it's too small. I'm surprised they didn't make it more of a 5.7 to 6 inch screen, which people probably would have gotten, and they would have had a bigger chip. But it has a big chip in it. It has almost the FZ100 chip, 1000 chip.
Oh,
I think it might be the same chip. So for that size, it's amazing. But they're not selling it publicly very much. But that's just something. We can talk about that maybe the next show. It looks interesting. I can't remember the name. Something 1. I don't remember what it was. But it's a Panasonic, and it's not carried by all of the Verizons and everybody else. So I don't know what carriers actually support it. So that's another issue that they've got to kind of resolve. But Jeff, is always a pleasure. And if you are in the YouTube video watching us, we'd love if you could rate us, give us a plus or a minus, thumbs up, thumbs down. Or subscribe. We'd love you to subscribe, and you'd know when our shows come out, and we would really appreciate that. And more than anything else, we appreciate you for watching us, and we look forward to hearing feedback from you. Give us ideas on what you'd like us to cover, and we'd love to cover it. Jeff, till next week.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. And if I press the right buttons, it would actually be amazing.
Well, that's my name anyway.